Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to SPPTV. Today we're going to be talking about a new project car that's coming to the channel. Some of you may have already seen it and know about it. Some of you may have not. Stay tuned and we're going to talk about the new project car and what's in store for this winter. So let's get to it. Like I said before, if you're new to the channel, you wouldn't know about this project car, but if you've been following along, you may have seen it before. It's my 1971 GTO Convertible. I've had this car for a long time already. I actually drove it to high school back in the day, yeah, it's been with me ever since. Unfortunately, I started this project about 9 years ago. I took this car apart. And so obviously there was no YouTube channel then. Lots of work's been done. It's quite far along in the process of being restored, but we're gonna finish it up this winter because I'm really tired of it sitting here. And yeah, you guys can follow along. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna talk about it. I will give you a little history, and then I will show you all the stuff that I've done. Just to kind of get you up to speed as to where the project is and where it's going. When I was about 14 years old or so, I had seen this car in a used car lot. I was like, wow, that car is awesome. So when I had got home, I had told my dad about it, and he wanted a Corvette, always wanted a Corvette. But when I told him about this one, he was intrigued to go take a look at it, being that it's a four-seater and obviously can fit more people than Corvette can. So anyways, we ended up looking at it, we ended up buying it. We paid $6,000 Canadian. That was, like I said, that was 1985 or 6, somewhere around there. The car was gold, kind of a candy gold. It had these wheels with gold in the center. I'll see if I can find some pictures, maybe Mike can add in to this video. Most of the pictures the quality is not really the greatest, but anyways, it was a really nice car. It was done up like a 455 HO, but it wasn't a 455 HO. And so we had lots of fun driving it. When I turned 16, I got to drive it. I actually drove it to school in the summer, of course, because we have winter here. So I wasn't able to drive it, you know, in the winter. But I drove it in the summer to school quite a bit. My dad ended up passing away later on when I was like 25 or something, and I ended up getting the car. So I drove it for a while, and then the car, though it looked nice, was actually full of Bondo. It had tons and tons of bodywork done to it. The door jambs were thick, like the inside of the doors were thick with Bondo, and the trunk lid and quarter panels and everything. I always said that one day I was going to restore it. I wanted to restore it from the ground up. I ended up putting quarter panels on it. I changed out the doors with really nice ones, which you'll see. Stuff like that, but I never really like tore it all apart and restored it. The 455 that was in it ended up blowing up. Got like a death rattle knock. So I ended up getting a 400 from a 71 Pontiac station wagon. So it's the right year, but it's not the right actual original engine. This car, they only made 678 GTO convertibles. 17 of those were Judges. So they only made, of the regular GTOs, 661. So it is a really rare car. There's not a lot of them left, I'm sure. When I ended up building my garage here, this garage in this house that I live in, first thing I had done was painted the Nova. I wanted to strip it to bare metal and bodywork it. And then I said once that was done, it was GTO time. I was gonna take the GTO apart. I was gonna totally rebuild it from the ground up, everything, make it like a new car. Which is what I did, and I tore it all apart, and like I said, I'll show you lots of the stuff that I've done over the years. It took me about, I don't know, I'd say 3 years or so, 3-4 years, to get it kind of into that condition. I had the body off the frame, I had it on rotisserie, I replaced the floors, like all kinds of stuff like that, had everything sandblasted and totally redone. And then life happens, things happened, whatever. I don't really want to get into that stuff, but the car ended up sitting, and I barely worked on it for the past like 4 or 5 years, other than a few things that I did do on it. But back 5 years ago or 6 years ago, the car was in primer, like ready to be block sanded mostly, right? Then I ended up changing some of the body panels that I wasn't happy with, the front fenders specifically, that I wasn't happy with. But like I said, we'll get into that when I show you the car. This is the state it's in, and of course it always kept getting pushed to the side, working on the Nova, working on the Jimmy, working on the S10, doing this, doing that. It really makes me mad that it's been sitting here this long. This is just ridiculous. I actually have new interior, new top, new carpet, new weather stripping, new molding. Like, I have everything. Everything that you don't see right now on the car, I have new. Everything. I mean, really the only thing that needs to be done to this car is finish the bodywork, get it painted, a few little odds and ends, and put it together. That's the plan for this winter. I hope you guys follow along to see the build of this car, and I hope you guys liking it will give me the motivation to just keep going on it and get it done, because I really want to have it finished. The big holdup is the paint, because I can't really do it myself and it's not cheap. But I'm at the point now where if somehow I couldn't afford to paint it, I would just put in primer or spray it in hot rod flats or something, because I want it to be on the road so I can enjoy it and my kids can enjoy it, because it's been sitting here way too long and it's ridiculous. So anyways, let's get to showing you all the stuff that's been done to it so far, and then we'll talk about what we're gonna do to finish it. Let's start from the front, I guess. So like I had stated, everything was apart. Everything was sandblasted, the rad support, everything, every single piece. I bought a sandblaster specifically to sandblast all the small brackets and stuff. The engine is a Pontiac 400. It's from a 71 Pontiac. It's not original, it's from a station wagon, but it's basically the same engine as what would have came in it. The only thing is it has 6X heads, which apparently, according to Ed, who's a big Pontiac guy, the heads are not the greatest for this engine. I also do have the original heads that came with this engine. So eventually maybe they'll go back on, maybe some aluminum heads. Maybe I'll find a 455 for it. But pretty much it's not going to get no LS swap. It's staying all Pontiac just like it is. So what else can I tell you? It's got headers, Headman headers. The engine was rebuilt. It was in really good condition. It just has new rings, new bearings and stuff. It already had a cam in it. It has all new ignition system. Has an aluminum water pump. Rebuilt Q-Jet carburetor, which I'm thinking about swapping to fuel injection. Somebody just came out with a with a fuel injection setup. Could be Holley, I'm not remember for sure, but that actually works with the Q-Jet manifold, like the stock Q-Jet carburetor type manifold. But I mean, I could go with any of those Sniper EFI or any of those kind of throttle body style fuel injections. So that might be something that's going to happen on the car this winter. We're going to have to wait and see. It all depends on money, of course, because they're not cheap. At the moment, it just has a carburetor on it. It has a factory ram air setup, not original to the car. This being just an original 400 car, it never came with ram air, but it was added, I guess, when it was made into a 455 HO clone. Pretty rare, pretty expensive stuff. So that's really nice. I don't want to get rid of that because I like it. It's always been one of the features of the car when I was a kid and when I was driving that I thought was super cool, right? Power brake booster, 76 Corvette master cylinder. The reason for the master cylinder is because the car has four-wheel disc brakes all the way around. It has all new bushings, everything, tie rod ends, all the suspension. I'll take you under there and show you the suspension stuff. And like I said, it has upgraded disc brakes, poly bushings throughout the body. All this was restored. Everything was sandblasted and repainted in here. You know, battery trays new. You may have seen in a previous episode where I got these fans for the S10 and they never ended up working. I'm going to use them in here. That's going to be one of the upcoming videos. I got to make some little spacers that are going to go in here that are going to get TIG welded to the radiator so I can bolt it on. It's a C4 like 95 Corvette brakes. So it's a 12-inch rotor with Corvette calipers. There's an adapter bracket that I had bought from a guy. Similar to what, this is similar setup to what I did on the S10. I'm actually kind of kicking around the idea to actually change this brake setup to the same one the S10 has. Just because these rotors, I never really noticed until I took it apart and compared them to the S10 ones. These rotors are really thin compared to those thick Camaro LS1 style, big, you know. So I'm kind of thinking about that. The calipers are also bigger. I don't know if it's worth it. I mean, I'm not really building this car to be like a big race car or anything like that. I just want it to stop good and handle good. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's got Edelbrock lowering springs and shocks. All new ball joints and tie rods, like I said. Edelbrock tie rod adjusters. All poly covers and all that kind of stuff. The front fenders are actually from a Le Mans, 71 Le Mans. But a 71 GTO fender is a specific fender. To find a fender for one of these, they're crazy. Like I've seen pairs for $2,000, like just nuts. These ones were pretty crappy in that someone had patched them in here before. And I ended up cutting it all out, welding new pieces in, replacing the whole bottom part of the fender on the original fenders, and still wasn't happy with it. I wasn't happy with the body line on this one. So what I ended up doing is I found a fender from a 71 Le Mans, and I just had to cut, basically you have to cut part of this out and then weld in the part from the GTO because it's different here. It's kind of hard to see. I don't know if you could see it. As we go through the car doing the bodywork and the fenders come off, I can show you guys how I did that. Then a year ago, that's in a video, I ended up getting this fender and I did the exact same thing. Well, actually, if you go back and you watch, there's a video where I was working on the GTO. I did it to this fender, the exact same thing. This is also a 71 Le Mans fender that was the original paint fender. It was a little rusty in some spots, but this is all original, this whole bottom here. Now, some guys in the comments had made comments about this car before having lots of Bondo on it because obviously it has a coat of Bondo on the whole fender, for example. That's how you do bodywork. That's how you make the car nice and straight. This body filler is probably only 3 millimeters thick. It's just there to like blend the car out and make it nice and smooth. I took time to get the body gaps all nice. Like I said, it has new rear quarter panels on it. The wheels, they're 18 by 8 and 18 by 9.5 Koi wheels. And then the tires are, I don't remember now. It's been so long. Nittos. Unfortunately, I bought those quite a while ago. I mean, they're probably not, I'm going to end up having to put new rubber on it eventually because they're brand new, but they're old, right? So that kind of sucks. I never really planned on the car sitting this long, as I said before. So here you can see I replaced the floor pan from here, right about here. This toe board's original. From here all the way to here. It's a one-piece floor pan. Comes one piece. I had it on a rotisserie. I had to slide it in there, fit it all in nice. But when I took this car apart, I thought the floors were pretty good. And I thought, sandblast them, do a little repair here and there, paint it, good. Once I sandblasted, there was lots of like terrible repairs done, 70s repairs. This car was just full of braze welded metal. So I ended up having to cut everything out that was damaged and basically reconstruct it. Like the rocker panels were good. The inner rockers are pretty good, but at the front there was rust where I had to cut out like 4 layers of metal and then relayer it just like it was from the factory. I had to add all the brackets back for the seats and for the center console, stuff like that. All this has been restored. All the heater box, all the pad behind it's all new. All this was restored, repainted, stripped down, sandblasted, etc. The steering column was done. It's a Turbo 400. The transmission's rebuilt. It's a 10-bolt rear end, also gone through, and new seals and all that kind of stuff. In the back, it has 2000 Camaro rear brakes. So the ones that would go with the front S10 ones. That's another reason why I'm thinking about swapping those ones out, because I also want to put cross-drilled slotted rotors on, just because they look cool. And I can order like the ones I put on the truck, a full set of 4 Camaro like LS1 or whatever, like Z28 brakes. I can order a full set for a pretty good deal for the rotors, and then all I'd have to do for this one is I'd have to order the calipers and the abutment brackets from the same company I got the S10 ones from. So that's kind of where I'm leaning towards doing. I'll quickly show you guys the underneath. Hopefully you're not getting bored, but here you can see all the brand new sway bar mounts, poly. Everything's still dirty. I kind of
I spent some time cleaning underneath here, make it look good for you guys. But so as you can see, everything here is new, and the whole undercarriage, you know, is all brand new too. Exhaust systems, a Flowmaster, a 2.5-inch American Thunder series, mufflers and all that kind of stuff. Back here you can see a brand new gas tank from Spectra Performance. It has the same Edelbrock shocks. Of course, this back area is dirty. Probably should have cleaned it up a little bit. It's got UMI upper and lower tubular control arms, and then same thing, all polyurethane bushings throughout. Like I said, it needs a good cleaning. Original sway bar. And yeah, I also replaced the trunk pans. You can't really tell, obviously, but the trunk pans, I replaced the 2 outside halves. They were rusty. The center was actually really good, so that's good still, but I had to replace those pieces.
Car does have a factory spoiler, also not original to this car, but once again, when it was done in 455 HO trim, somebody added it. I like it, so I'm leaving it. I think it looks cool. It's put on in the proper location, all that stuff. The trunk lid was replaced. The trunk lock was removed. And on the doors, the door locks were removed. And the trunk has a keyless entry. That's what this green wire actually is. It's got a power thing. And I'll probably end up putting keyless entry doors also, because otherwise I'm going to be able to lock it. You can see here how nice the doors are. All original. You can see that, you know, nice gap, nice edging. The doors that were on here had like 1/2 inch of Bondo all caked in here, you know, smoothed out. And same with all this. This was all reconstructed here. It was all rusty, and I had to rebuild it all. It was all braze welded in and stuff. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Like I said, it was obviously an extensive restoration project. Unfortunately, it's almost all done, but I wish that we were doing YouTube back then, so that we could have recorded all the work that I did. I mean, I took tons and tons of pictures, but you know, pictures aren't video, right? As far as what's in store for the car, my plan is to, in the next video, I'm gonna do the radiator. Like I had said, I'm gonna pull it out. I'm gonna make little spacers, weld those on, get that fan mounted, cleaned up all nice. I also wanna redo this piece here. This is just made out of steel, but I actually have a nice piece of aluminum sheet here that I bought for the truck that I ended up not using. So I'm hoping to bend up a really nice aluminum cover for here and get all that kind of finished up. And then once that's done, pretty much what needs to be done other than that is there's some spots. As I block sanded it, I found some spots. I could show you a few. Here there's a little something, didn't feel quite right. There was a couple small spots. There's a couple on the fender, I think here. There's also a couple on the hood. This hood was actually, I had to rebuild pretty much this whole bottom piece here, the whole top of it. You'll see the hood better one, it's on the car later. So the plan is to finish up all those little body working spots, reprime, reblock, and then hopefully after that next blocking, it'll be ready to be painted. Then, I don't know. Thinking about tearing it down, painting all the door jambs and all that stuff myself, because everything needs to be painted. As you can see, like all the inside of the doors, all the inside of here, all this back, everything there needs to be painted. So I'm hoping to maybe do that myself here. And then once that's done, maybe take the car to get it painted somewhere, which I haven't decided who to paint it. I haven't really talked to anybody about actually painting the car, but I'd like to get it painted. And then once it's painted, we'll reassemble. Like I said, I pretty much have all the parts, and then send it out, get the top put on. I bought the top already. I have a new front header panel, everything for it, weather stripping, all that, but I've put a top on this before and it didn't really turn out so good, so I don't know if I really want to attempt doing it myself. So we'll see what happens. You know, maybe I will. Maybe I'll try to figure out, you know, the best way to do it, and maybe I will attempt it again. I don't know. I don't really want to waste the money on the top if it doesn't turn out. So the car is going to be cardinal red. That's the original color for the car, and that's the color I want to paint it. All the interior and the top is black. Originally it was red with white interior, white top. I think the black will look cooler. I'm really hoping that once all the weight's in it, the suspension comes down some, because it definitely sits way too high right now. If not, then like it's got lowering springs and everything in it, so if they don't make the car sit how I want, then those will be swapped out. You know, maybe we'll go to like something else, or coilovers, or I don't know. We're gonna have to figure out something, because I want it to sit pretty low. The car always sat really low to the ground before, and that's when it looks the best, right? Hope I didn't bore you too much just talking about the car and not really working on it or anything, but I figured since a lot of the work's been done, I should really give you guys the rundown on what's been done and a little history on the car. Stay tuned to watch more videos of it, and I'll appreciate it. It'll give me that motivation to work on it if you guys like the videos. Who knows what else we got in store for this winter. My truck's still here, the Jimmy's still here. They could get worked on over the winter too. Who knows what might go on at the House of Horsepower with Mike's car. The Sonic Stang might get worked on. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But as always, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. We'll check you later.